Commander Zara Vex stood at the observation deck of her ship, watching the small human vessel drift helplessly in space. Her violet eyes gleamed with satisfaction as she studied the damaged craft through her ship's sensors. The human inside had walked directly into her trap just as she had planned. Zara was a Catherian hunter, one of the most feared predators in the galaxy. Her species had evolved on a world where cunning and patience were the only ways to survive. They were tall, graceful beings with pale blue skin and enhanced senses that could detect the slightest movement from miles away. For centuries, they had been the apex hunters of space, capturing rare specimens for wealthy collectors across the stars. This particular human had caught her attention 3 weeks ago. The databases showed his name was Alex Carter, a simple cargo pilot who ran supplies between the outer colonies. What made him interesting was not his profession, but his reputation for survival. Alex had somehow escaped from 3 different pirate attacks, survived a plasma storm that destroyed half his convoy, and walked away from a crash landing that should have killed him. Zara had studied humans for years. They were a young species, barely reaching the stars a few centuries ago. Most galactic civilizations considered them weak and primitive. Their bodies were fragile compared to other spacefaring races. They had no natural armor, no enhanced strength, no telepathic abilities. Yet somehow, they kept surviving situations that would kill more advanced species. She had spent weeks preparing this trap. Using her ship's cloaking technology, she had followed Alex through 3 star systems, learning his patterns. She discovered he always stopped at a particular asteroid field to recalibrate his navigation systems. It was the perfect place for an ambush. Zara had planted an energy mine along his usual route. When it detonated, it would disable his ship's engines without destroying the vessel completely. She wanted him alive for her collection. A human with such unusual survival instincts would be worth a fortune to the right buyer. The mine had worked perfectly. Alex's ship now floated dead in space, all power gone except for emergency life support. Zara could see him through her scanners, sitting calmly in his pilot seat as if nothing had happened. Most beings would be panicking by now, but the human seemed almost relaxed. She activated her ship's tractor beam and began pulling his vessel into her cargo bay. Once he was aboard, she would use her sleep gas to render him unconscious, then place him in a stasis pod for transport. It should be simple and clean. As Alex's ship settled into her cargo bay, Zara made her way down to greet her new prize. She wore her hunting armor, a sleek black suit that enhanced her natural abilities. Her weapon was holstered at her side, though she doubted she would need it against a single unarmed human. The cargo bay sealed and pressurized. Zara approached the human ship with confident steps. Through the viewport, she could see Alex still sitting in his seat. He turned to look at her as she drew near, and she was surprised by what she saw in his eyes. There was no fear, no desperation. Instead, he seemed almost curious. Alex opened his ship's hatch and stepped out slowly, hands visible and empty. He was taller than most humans she had encountered, with brown hair and steady blue eyes. His clothes were simple work coveralls, nothing that suggested he was anything more than a common pilot. "Well," Alex said, looking around the cargo bay with interest. "This is new. Usually when someone disables my ship, they just rob me and leave. You actually brought me aboard. That suggests you want something specific." Zara tilted her head, studying him. His voice was calm, conversational. "You are remarkably composed for someone who has just been captured." Alex shrugged. "Getting upset won't change my situation. Better to stay calm and see what happens next. I'm Alex, by the way. Alex Carter." "I know who you are," Zara replied. "I have been tracking you for some time. Your reputation for survival is quite remarkable." "Is that why I'm here? Because I'm hard to kill?" Alex asked with genuine curiosity. Zara found herself intrigued by his directness. Most beings begged or threatened when captured. This human seemed to be treating the situation like a business meeting. "Among other reasons, you will fetch a considerable price from collectors who appreciate rare specimens." "Ah, slavery then." Alex nodded as if this explained everything. "That's unfortunate. I was hoping you might be interested in making a deal instead." "What sort of deal could you possibly offer me?" Zara asked, amused by his audacity. Alex looked around the cargo bay again, taking in the details of her ship. "This is a nice vessel. Kytherian design, if I'm not mistaken. Military-grade cloaking system, enhanced sensors, custom modifications for long-range hunting. Must have cost a fortune." Zara was surprised he recognized her ship's origin. Humans were not known for their knowledge of alien technology. You seem unusually well informed for a simple cargo pilot. I've been around, Alex replied casually. The thing about a ship like this is that it requires very specific maintenance. Catherian power cores need recalibration every 6 months, or they start developing quantum fluctuations. When was the last time you had yours serviced? Zara felt a slight chill. She had been meaning to have her power core checked, but certified Catherian technicians were rare and expensive. She had been putting it off for months. How would you know about Catherian power systems? She demanded. Alex smiled slightly. Like I said, I've been around. Before I became a cargo pilot, I worked on a lot of different ships, including a few Catherian vessels that their owners thought were beyond repair. Even if that were true, what does it matter now? Zara asked, though she was beginning to feel uneasy. Well, if I had to guess, I'd say your power core is probably running at about 60% efficiency right now. You've noticed your cloaking system doesn't hold as long as it used to. Your weapon systems take a few extra seconds to charge. Small things that you've been ignoring because the ship still functions. Zara's eyes narrowed. He was right about everything. How could he possibly know that? The problem is, Alex continued conversationally, when a Catherian power core reaches critical quantum instability, it doesn't just shut down. It creates a cascade failure that can take out your entire ship. Usually happens without warning. You're lying, Zara said, but her voice lacked conviction. Alex shrugged again. Maybe, but do you really want to find out? Especially when you're days away from the nearest starport? Zara felt the first real concern she had experienced in years. If the human was telling the truth, she could be in serious danger. But if he was lying, it was an incredibly sophisticated bluff. Even if you could repair my power core, why would you help me? She asked. Because I prefer mutually beneficial arrangements to being sold as a slave, Alex replied simply. I fix your ship, you drop me off at the nearest civilized world. Everyone wins. Zara considered this. It seemed too convenient that this particular human would have exactly the skills she needed. Yet the details he had mentioned about her ship were accurate. He clearly knew more than he should about Catherian technology. How do I know you won't sabotage my ship? She asked. Because if I damage your ship while we're in deep space, I die too, Alex pointed out. I'm many things, but suicidal isn't one of them. Zara made her decision. Even if there was only a small chance the human was telling the truth about her power core, the risk was too great to ignore. Very well, but you will work under supervision, and any attempt at sabotage will result in your immediate death. Fair enough, Alex agreed. Over the next several hours, Zara watched as Alex worked on her ship's power systems. To her amazement, he seemed to know exactly what he was doing. He identified problems she hadn't even been aware of and made repairs with tools from her own maintenance bay. As he worked, he explained what he was doing in simple terms she could understand. The quantum fluctuations in her power core had been building for months, just as he had predicted. Without his intervention, the cascade failure would have occurred within days. There, Alex said finally, wiping his hands on a maintenance cloth. That should give you another year of optimal performance, though I'd recommend having it properly serviced when you reach port. Zara ran a diagnostic on her power systems. The improvement was immediately obvious. Her ship was running at full efficiency for the first time in months. How did you know? She asked quietly. Alex turned to face her. About your power core? The signs were obvious once I knew what to look for. The slight delay in your tractor beam activation. The way your lights dimmed momentarily when you pressurized the cargo bay. Small things, but they add up. That's not what I meant, Zara said. How did you know I would need your help? This was too convenient to be coincidence. Alex was quiet for a moment, then smiled. You're very good at hunting, Zara, but you're not the only one who knows how to set a trap. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean? I've been aware of you following me for 2 weeks, Alex explained calmly. Your ship has an excellent cloaking system, but it's not perfect. There are ways to detect the gravitational distortions if you know what to look for. That's impossible, Zara breathed. No human technology is that advanced. You're right, Alex agreed. Human technology isn't, but I never said I was using human methods. Zara's hand moved instinctively toward her weapon, but Alex held up a calming hand. Relax. If I wanted to,